Hey guys, welcome back to How to Overcome the Fear of Speaking. We're on part 3, video 3. We're looking at how do I change? This is the bit you've been waiting for, isn't it? How do you change? And the key to this, actually, we touched on in the last video. Look at this again from Abraham Maslow. In any given moment, we have two choices. Number one, we can step forward into growth. Or number two, we can step back into safety. And obviously, we want to step forward into growth, don't we? That's the key to change. That's what we're going to look at. How do we do that? Mark Twain said, do the thing you fear and the death of fear is certain. Do the thing you fear. Why? Because if you do the thing you fear, you're stepping forward into fear, and then you can see it for what it really is. But if you don't do it, if you run from it, then you'll never find out that it's not real. And so you'll run and you'll run and you'll run. So you've got to find a way to turn and face the fear. Turn and face the fear. If you run, you'll be running for the rest of your life. And you'll always think that it's real, and you never find out that it's not, because you never turn and face it and step into it. Remember, the only way out is through the fear. You have to find a way to do that. But what most people don't realize about fear is it's incredibly energizing. The purpose of fear really is to give us that energy to run away very often, isn't it? So there's a great deal of energy that comes from fear, far more than apathy. To be scared, you can get up and run. You can get up and do stuff. You can get up and fight. Apathy is like, ugh, I can't be bothered. So ride the fear. Use that energy to move forwards. Use the energy of fear to step forward into growth. You can do that. And once you know that it's safe, there isn't actually a danger. And we've already been through this, that remember, speaking is safe. You're not going to die. It's not a life or death situation. So use the fear, experience the thrill of stepping forward into growth. Don't run from it, ride it. Experience that thrill. You're alive in that moment, and it feels edgy, exhilarating, like a roller coaster, but it's safe. No harm is going to come to you. So you can ride the fear. I love this from John F. Kennedy. He said there's costs and risks to any plan of action, but they're far less than the long-range risks and costs of comfortable inaction. We can't allow ourselves to step back into safety, to that comfortable inaction, because it's not safe. It feels safe. It feels like the comfort zone, but it's not. We're not stepping back into safety. We're stepping back into bigger long-term risks, actually. It's kind of like gradually going downhill. So we need to find a way to step forward into growth. And so here's the next part of Dr. Albert Ellis's model for emotional disturbance to help us do that. So we talked about the ABC already of this. A is the activating event, B is the belief, and C is the consequence. And remember, it's the B about the A that causes the C. It's the belief about the activating event that causes the consequence. Well, there's a D as well. The D is dispute. So this is to dispute the existing unhealthy belief that you hold. So we talked about this in the previous exercises. If you did the exercises, you talked about, what do you believe about your ability to speak? And it may be that that's very unhealthy. And so we might want to dispute that. And so we do that by saying, well, is this logical? I'm not a natural speaker, therefore I'll never be able to be a natural speaker. I'm hopeless and I always will be. Maybe that's what you wrote down. Is that logical? Well, look at what you've achieved so far. There's probably lots of evidence that that's nonsense. So you can dispute it by saying, well, is this logical? Is this realistic? Really? Am I really that? All the things I've learned, and actually, just because I haven't done something, is that really evidence that I can't do it? I can't learn to do it? No. And so it's probably not logical, not realistic, and most importantly of all, it's not helpful. Speaking is a great skill to develop, no matter what. It will build your career, it will build your business, it will build your self-confidence, it will make you a better human being, better able to help people. But getting better at communicating is life, because we're social beings and we interact with one another all the time. So it's definitely not helpful. This is definitely a limiting belief that you want to focus on, you want to work on. Not all of them are. We believe a lot of things. You don't need to work on all of them. But if there's something that's holding you back from a bigger and better life, particularly in the direction that you want to go, then I think that's one that you want to tackle. And so the D is to dispute the existing unhealthy, irrational belief. The E then, the last part, is the emotional integration of the new belief. Now let me just say here, because this is important to catch, there's a difference between intellectual insight and emotional integration. Intellectual insight is like where you have this idea. It's like, oh, I could believe differently. I could see this differently. That's intellectual insight, and that's great. It's it's useful. It makes sense. I've got this idea. I could live a different life. Great, but that doesn't change how you feel until it's emotionally integrated. You only change how you feel when it's emotionally integrated. It's just an idea. Otherwise, when something happens, when there's an activating event, the old internalized belief is tripped. And then the emotions are there. And then you lose control again. You feel like it's hopeless. You feel like you're scared. So the new belief is great. When you kind of think about that and design that new belief, it's just an idea. It needs to be emotionally integrated. And that's going to change the way you see the world. It's going to change the way you feel about things. And it's going to change the consequences when that belief is activated. So we're going to come up with a new way of seeing things, a new way of believing about things, a new story to tell ourselves, and we're going to internalize it. And the key part of that is in taking action. Now, there's a whole process that we can go through kind of therapeutically to do this. And I've tried to give you as much background on this because, I think it's really helpful to have that understanding because it gives you hope. I can change. You have to actually believe that, first of all. I believe I can change. It's not just me. There's a better future for me. There's a brighter future for me. When you believe that, then you're more likely to step forward into growth, to take the actions that I'm talking about. But you don't actually have to understand all of this in order to change. You just need to take action. You just need to take action. That's what I want to encourage you to do. Now, it can be baby steps. You don't need to be a hero. You don't need to do it in one giant leap. You don't need to do it in one go. It can be baby steps. So we've got to find a way to turn and face the fear. Take baby steps. Don't need to be a hero. Any progress will do. And then it's amazing, over a reasonable period of time, what a difference it makes. From one day to the next, maybe you kind of think, this is not going to make any difference. This is a waste of time. And it seems like that from one day to the next, but over a reasonable period of time, it adds up to a great deal of difference. So we've got to find a way to step forward like that into growth. Now, John Maxwell gives us the secret really to changing our life in any area, changing results in any area of life. He says, you'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. Every day. You'll never change your life until you change something you do every day. And that is the secret really to success or failure. It's found in our daily routine. So what are you doing to change your life? The things that you're doing every day are giving you the results that you're getting. If you want different results, then you need to find a way to do different things. Simple as that, really, isn't it? So what are the exercises then with that in mind for this third final video? How important is this to you? How important is it for you to overcome your fear of speaking, to become a great speaker? What are you prepared to give in order to realize that? What are you prepared to sacrifice? What are you prepared to give up? What can you do today after watching this video to get started? What can you do every day to keep moving forwards towards your goal, your dream? And who can you get to help you? Who is available to help you? And then, can you keep going? Because if you can keep going, if you can keep moving forwards, and that comes from realizing it's important and it's worth it, then you keep moving forwards. And if you're moving, if you're growing, it's just a matter of time. John says over and over again, the only guarantee that tomorrow is going to be better is if you're growing today. If you're growing today, tomorrow is going to be better. If you're not growing today, tomorrow is probably going to be worse. And then over a long period of time, it's going to be a lot worse. So we have to be growing. We have to be growing. If we are, it's just a matter of time. Okay, then let's look at the summary for the whole kind of program then. What have we covered? Well, we talked about initially, get help if you need it. If you're really struggling with a phobia or a terror or panic, that kind of, fear, then maybe you want to go and see your doctor first of all. Get help if you need it. But basically what you want to do is face the fear and take action consistently. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Don't run away from it. Every time you run away from fear, you reinforce the validity of the fear. Every time you turn and face it and take even teeny little steps forwards, you uncover the fear for what it is. It's not real. It's very convincing, but it's not real. So we have to face the fear. Take baby steps. Don't be a hero. You don't need to do it in one giant leap. There's a real confidence that comes from being properly prepared. So prepare, practice after you've prepared, and that's how you're going to perform. Do it for others. If it's all about you and the focus is all on you, you're always going to feel self-conscious. But if you take your focus off of you onto other people and how you can help them, it changes everything. So if you can do it for other people, you're going to find that you forget yourself. You lose yourself in the service of others. Remember, we're looking for progress, not perfection. You don't need to be growing in giant strides. You can just be growing a little bit, and then over a reasonable period of time, it's going to make a big difference. Remember, an audience is made up of individual human beings just like you. So you're going to connect with them one-to-one, one person to another. It's not this big thing called an audience. It's made up of individuals. So you're going to connect with them one at a time. So when you're speaking to them, you look out, you're going to see some people are really into it. Talk to the light bulbs. They're the light bulbs. Talk to them. They're the ones that it's good for you to focus on. Pick out a few light bulbs around the audience and speak to them. Imagine them if you're speaking virtually. You're talking to the light bulbs. There's going to be people there who are texting or messing about. They're not there for you. So don't let them ruin the experience for everyone else. Talk to the light bulbs. Relax, breathe, and visualize. I think it's a great practice to spend time meditating or visualizing or in prayer or some kind of still or whatever makes sense for you. I've been doing this for years now, every single day, and it changes everything. Get good at what Herbert Benson called the relaxation response. Your body gets very good at getting ready for stress. It can get very good at relaxing afterwards as well. So how do you get good at anything? Practice. If by practicing breathing, setting aside some time each day, even for just a couple of minutes, it will change everything for you, honestly. It really will. It's made such a difference to my life. And during that time, you can visualize yourself as a great, developing, impactful, helpful speaker, making a difference around the world. Keep things in perspective, particularly before you speak, but all the time, really. For me, I love to, before I speak, the last thing I'll do is go through my phone and look at pictures of the kids. I love to look at pictures of the kids, and it reminds me, what's really important. It's what's really important. It keeps me grounded. So keep things in perspective in whatever way makes sense for you, and maybe it help you stop getting things out of proportion. And then be someone you admire. I think this is great. People talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem is really an estimate of self. How do you think about yourself? Are you the sort of person you admire? And very often people with low self-esteem, they're not doing the things that people they admire do. So they look up to others and they don't do the things that they admire in others. So be that person. Be the person that you admire. Be that person that you can look up to. And finally, I'll leave you with this thought for the whole program. Albert Schweitzer said, only those of you who find a way to serve your fellow man will ever really be truly happy. So can we do it for others? Is our work given meaning because we're helping other people? I believe we're here to get better at helping other people. And so this is, I love this. And it brings meaning to anything you do if you're doing it in the service of others. If you've enjoyed this short video series and there's someone that might enjoy it too, point them to the URL ridethefear.com and they can sign up and they can take the 3 video series for free as well. Ridethefear.com. And if you're not on our Speaking 360 mailing list already, you want to keep in touch, or you want a video emailed every Sunday on speaking, not just on fear, but just on speaking generally, then go to speaking360.com and put your email address in and we'll email you and we'll keep in touch. That's it. Thanks so much for going through this video series. I look forward to speaking to you soon or seeing your wonderful work out there in the world, virtually or live in person. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon. Thanks, guys. Lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye. God bless.